Hi everyone, and thanks for being with me again. I'm going to just offer an idea around Donald Trump that you may or may not have heard of, but it came to me while watching and listening to commentary in relation to the convention that was held during the week. And the idea is this, is that Donald Trump is a puppet for the RNC, that the man lacks really any reasonable brain cells anyway. He's illiterate in so many ways, doesn't understand or know anything. But I want us to consider that he's being used by the right wing to influence and to enact their policies. So he's doing this not because he necessarily believes in those policies, because the man doesn't believe in anything apart from himself. So they are using him as an opportunity to be able to do the things that they want to do, which is outlined in Project 2025. So I think that it's really important for us to be aware that Donald Trump is merely a tool in more ways than one. He's a tool, generally speaking. He's also a tool being used by and manipulated by the right wing to implement the things that they believe they want and they need. And there's a couple of examples of that. And I think the first one is certainly the appointment of Supreme Court judges, which has veered the Supreme Court to the extreme right. He was able to achieve that, and they've been working on that for years, hoping that someone would be able to do that. Donald Trump comes along. He hasn't got any ideology around any of the issues in relation to the Supreme Court, except when his cases, his trial cases, have to be placed before the Supreme Court, and he's seeking immunity, of course. But apart from that, he has no investment in it. And of course, Roe versus Wade, turning over the abortion rights and the freedom of women to choose, is a primary issue of the right wing, and has been so for many, many years. And as a result of that, Trump happened to be there. He happened to be able to do what he was told in order to get those things passed. Now, Trump himself, because he lacks any form of ideology or any form of moral compass, is only interested in one thing, and that is to get himself back in power, because he is so embarrassed by the fact that Barack Obama beat him by some 3 or 4 million votes in comparison to his, and that in the election he got beaten by an old fart that he considers to be hopeless, old, dysfunctional, and a whole host of other things, which is simply projection by Donald Trump, I think. But nevertheless, he is humiliated by what happened. Does he wish things to be different for the American people? No, he doesn't. He doesn't care. And because he doesn't care, and he wants just this one thing, this only thing that he wants is so that he can get back in power, so he feels less insignificant because of the losses that he's had in the past. And this is regardless of the fact that they've lost the House, that they lost the Senate, that they lost the White House, but they will be able to hopefully take some of those back at the next election, depending on what Biden does. But I hope the American people aren't all that stupid. I hope that they can at least realise who this man actually is. You know, the speech that he gave and the way he introduced himself at the beginning of that speech, in terms of, I'm never going to talk about what happened to me on that Saturday when someone tried to assassinate him, and that it makes me furious. And this is all written for him. 1/4 of his speech was written. The rest of it, he just rambled and did the stuff that he normally does at most elections, at most of his speeches. This man offers no substance whatsoever to policies, to helping the American people improve their lot in life. He offers nothing. And this is evident by just watching the crap he spouts, whether it be sharks and electric boats, and whether he should be electrocuted or not. And apparently he's still spitting that yarn for some bizarre reason, whether it be windmills and the damage they do to whales, or the number of birds that get killed because of windmills. The right wing have got a puppet in their hands that they can now utilise to get some of the most horrific, inhumane policies presented as you could imagine. A normal person, a person with a bit of integrity, would push back against some of those extreme right-wing notions. But they are, for the first time, they are now able to implement some of those horrendous ideas. And this has come about because they lost the last election, but they won the one before that, and they didn't have the infrastructure, the knowledge, the understanding to be able to implement the things that they needed to implement. But now they do. They've had 4 years to think about it, and it's going to happen. And Trump is the way by which they can have that happen. Not because Trump is clever, not because he's extremely articulate, because he isn't. Not because he thinks about issues, because he doesn't know what the issues are to start with. His focus is just himself. So watch. They will implement these, the Project 2025 propaganda. I can assure you of that. And as a result of that, the United States will be kind of stuffed forever. So watch this space. But I'm just asking you to think about it a little bit differently. Think about the fact that Trump isn't clever, we all know that, but the RNC are using him to implement their policies. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and also remember to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell for further notifications. In the meantime, take care, look after yourselves, and be safe.